Hi, this is Ranger Jonah with DeKalb County, and today's an adventure day in which I'm going to try to learn a little bit more about the watersheds adjacent to Mason Mill, particularly South Fork Peachtree Creek. I'm going to tip you off onto something. You see me in these videos, and of course I'm wearing my park ranger uniform, but just like on a Zoom call, you can always be wearing sandals underneath, because today, as you can see, I've got the kayak on top of the car, and I am gonna go try and paddle the South Fork of Peachtree Creek right through Medlock and Mason Mill Park. Come along. I made it to my put-in. I'm very near where South Peachtree Creek crosses North Druid Hills Road, and I'm gonna do about a 3-mile paddle, I hope. So what I've read in the amazing book by Dave Kaufman that's called Peachtree Creek, A Natural and Unnatural History. Now Dave, he did a very similar paddle as what I'm doing, and he did it all up and down the Peachtree watersheds. And what I've read in his book is that he found that there was a certain period of time where the water was high enough after a rain, but not too high. And I'm hoping I'm hitting that kind of right on the nose here. We'll see. I'm gonna put my boat in the water. It's definitely very silty right now. You can tell that there was a big rain about 5 hours ago, and we'll see what we can do. I'll see you on the water. I've only been on the creek for just a few minutes, and I've already seen a barred owl and a red-tailed hawk, a mature one. And then I've been hearing a juvenile red-tailed hawk just over here. It's pretty exciting. Oh, and look at this. There's an eastern phoebe. Now, this is a good location for them because they love flitting around and catching insects. But this one's perched. I don't know if it's going to give us a good tail wag, but they do bob their tails up and down, and that's one of the ways that we can identify eastern phoebe. I don't know if you can see it. There's a green heron. Perhaps I'm giving you a good view of it. Well, it didn't take too long, but I'm already at my first log jam, and it's full up with plastic and balls and things like that that float on top of the water. So I gotta drag my boat over the top of it. This may be what I'm doing all afternoon. We'll see. If you see any small flashes of light, that's because I'm also surrounded by gnats and mosquitoes. Making you want to come on this adventure, right? Remember how I told you about all that trash at the log jam? Look what trash I just found. Ah! Well, not a real snake. And I can't pack out all the trash in Peachtree Creek, but I'll take this little plastic snake home with me, and I think my daughter at least will enjoy it. Did you know there's a waterfall underneath Lawrenceville Highway? I didn't know that either. And there's the old pylons from an old bridge. I'm grounded, so I gotta step out here and drag my boat over the sand here, which is fine. This is a hard paddle, y'all. And this is what paddling this section of South Fork Peachtree Creek is like. Or that's more what it's like paddling this section of South Fork Peachtree Creek. I'm finally kind of on home ground here. I just made it to Medlock Park, and I'm about to pass under the bridge underneath Willoughby and into Mason Mill Park. If you've ever walked at Mason Mill, you know that there's this creek that runs through, but there's all of these sewer pipes that crisscross the creek. This little waterfall is actually one of those sewer pipes. I had to portage around this one. Maybe a better kayaker would have been able to do it, but that's not me. And now I'm in Mason Mill Park. Let's see. I just portaged over one of the mini sewer pipes that crisscross Peachtree Creek in this area, and I'm right below the boardwalk. If this pile of plastic doesn't make you want to give up single-use water bottles, I don't know what will. Every time I come to this location at Mason Mill, there's this huge log jam filled with plastics. I'm hoping to do a cleanup here sometime soon. Besides the plastic and the pipes, it's a really picturesque place. My trip is drawing to a close, and I'll wrap it up once I'm on dry ground. But I'm going to be getting off just before we get onto the Emory campus, and it's definitely been an adventure. I think I've been complaining a lot on these videos because every time I stop, I think, oh, I'll show folks what I'm seeing. But honestly, it's been a beautiful paddle, and I've seen a lot of really awesome birds, frogs, turtles, and also have surprised a few people that are walking on the boardwalk above me. So I'll get to the takeout point, and then I'll say goodbye for the day. And that's my takeout. Kayak's back on the car, ready to go home. So what did I learn? Well, first of all, I learned that it's not easy to paddle the headwaters of South Fork Peachtree Creek. I guess I am going back to civilization, so I'll put this back on. And the other thing I learned is that there is a beautiful ecosystem hidden in the middle of the city. I guess we knew that because of our parks, but I didn't just paddle through parks. I also paddled behind people's houses and things like that. And I saw so many different kinds of beautiful birds. Beyond just the birds, also I was able to notice the level of water flow that happens immediately after a large rain. I think I paddled at almost exactly the right point. You can see the water levels right here. They kind of spike after a major rain event, but this wasn't too high. So there were a couple small rapids that I had to go around because I'm not a great paddler. However, for the most part, I didn't just scrape bottom the whole time. But you saw the water in those videos I showed you. The water is super, super murky, picks up a huge amount of silt. And as I paddled down, I kept seeing pipe after pipe after pipe depositing water from streets and from parking lots down into the creek. I mean, that's the kind of thing that when we do development, we need to figure out ways to not have all of our stormwater runoff immediately go down into our creeks. So that's another thing that it got me thinking about. And then finally, I thought about how do we experience the nature that's in our own backyards. Next time you drive by South Fork Peachtree Creek or spend some time at Mason Mill or Medlock Park, take a pause, step down, and see what you see at the creek. You might hear a bird's call, or you might imagine what it'd be like to paddle the creek yourself. Be careful, be safe, stay healthy. This is Ranger Jonah with DeKalb County, signing off.